Hello and welcome to the FVEC Best of Forza Motorsport 7, a final series to send off the quite up and down, is one way to put it, platform that we've used for a number of years now. Hopefully it's going to be all good. We've got a number of drivers with us tonight. 8 total drivers are going to be joining us around the first 2 rounds. 2 times 20-minute races preceded by a 10-minute qualifying. The first track we're going to tonight is going to be Long Beach, and we're going to be heading over to the Bernese Alps Stadtplat layout for the second round. As you can see from our images currently on screen, or starting soon, this series is exclusively using the Dodge Viper SRT Motorsports GT-SR. This car is iconic to all of us in Formula Velocity for a number of reasons, starting all the way back in 2019, our first ever endurance event heading towards the Tora 24 Hours of Le Mans. We took this car to a pretty reputable finish for what we were capable of at the time, and since then it has stuck throughout a lot of events. If I'm not mistaken, it has been taken out a number of other times, including a couple more Le Mans outings, as well as a 24 Hours of Daytona as well. It has also appeared in number of different liveries, as you can see there on the screen. The most current iteration is the blue one with a slightly green top to it, but it was always sporting that very iconic FV stripe over the left side fender. Some live editing there on the stream, but we are off for a 10-minute qualifying. Unlike Formula 1 events, qualifying is ghosted. See, their car is able to go completely through each other without any difficulties. One car already going very far off into the distance. We'll see who that is. There's 2 cars actually on the map. Take a look at who that could be. It's going to be VNT Rosenquist and Saskia Mall, already entering some of their own difficulties heading towards turn 1. Turn 1 can catch you off guard here very easily if you're not careful, as we see Senna sliding, nearly getting into the tyre barriers. Same goes for Skoda coming through that corner. But indeed, coming towards turn 1, you've got to be careful. That can catch you out very quickly. Track limits here as well. You're allowed to run up to the walls. The only places that are off limits is the pit exit lines, and you are not allowed to cut over any inside curbs. Apart from that, it is all fine as long as it is grey. You also need to be careful here of a number of tyre barriers. They can very easily catch you out, as well as the inside of turn 6. If you get that just a little bit too close to the inside, you can very, very easily just get caught up in it. We'll jump over to the game camera. Take a look at Scarlett, who will be setting the first proper pace lap around the circuit. Heading down towards turn 1, a slightly right-hand bend throughout the start finish straight, braking nice and light, a little bit off the apex, but runs it up to the wall nicely. Then you've got turn 2 and 3, the roundabout section. You go over the top of that, you're going to have a very bad time, can easily damage your car. A little bit reluctant on the power delivery up for the corner. However, it is nicely now getting through turn 4. Turn 5 is a little deceptive. You think you can turn in a lot earlier than you can, but those inside curbs, they are restricting you from going anywhere over. You've also got to be watchful of these headlights on the other side of the track. They are not cars going towards you, but anyway, heading towards turn 6 keeps it nice and away from that inside wall. Right, it will grab you. Leaves a little to be desired. Probably not going for the full track limits in qualifying. It is still clean over dirty for our regular proceedings. A little bit of a twitch coming out of turn 8. Turn 9 as well, very similar to turn 5. You can turn in not as early as you think, lest you run the inside of the track. And very wide coming around the final corner of 11. A little reluctant on the power again, but coming across the line. That's going to be setting our pace. Can't quite see what it is on the ticker. Let's see if we can change what that is on. It's a 1:21.724 to set the pace. Saskia Mall's been off again at turn 1. Not going well for her so far in this session. Senna is in second with a 1:22.889, and Skoda with a 1:23.129 is in third. Didn't quite catch who was in fourth place. Ticker's moving along just a little bit too quickly. But in second place, actually jumping ahead of Senna, is going to be Salasa. but still Scarlett holds the top spot for now. Jumping over to FVEC currently holding in 5th place. Salasa at 1:22.305, a very respectable lap time around this circuit. However, I get the feeling, looking at the ticker, these lap time data are not sorted properly. Indeed, the art car dude should not be that far behind unless it is a dirty lap time, which is entirely possible. It could be. We're just not too certain. About 6 minutes remaining of qualifying. Some drivers still yet to get a clean lap from the judging things over on the ticker. And drivers selecting to stay just a little bit off that inside wall. Across the line, Pixels stays in 5th. Not sure of any improvements. Indeed, it's a 1:24.265, 1.8 second improvement over his previous best lap. Locks up going into turn 1 though, very harsh on the brakes, but makes it surprisingly. Goes a bit deep though through the roundabout section of turns 2 and 3. And hits into the wall in the exit turn 4. That's going to be quite detrimental, if not going to be dirtying your lap time. We'll jump over to Rosenquist, currently sat down in 7th place. Getting very close to the inside, but hitting into the wall on the exit. Jump over and have a quick look, see if there is any damage to that car. It doesn't seem to be. Have managed to get away with it. Heading over to the telemetry, a big slide coming through turn 4. Car's making about 470 horsepower down the straights, propelling it to decent speeds, around 160 mile an hour on the stock gearing. Is the top end. That of course is dependent. You can entirely tune your gearing, you can tune your aero as well. So we don't really know what these cars can do in terms of top speeds. As the dash is broken there. Typically we can't tell how fast Rosenquist is going into the corner, but it's no bother. A little bit of adjustment into the wall again. That's going to be detrimental to the lap times. Going to be lucky to get away damage. You can't do that too many times, otherwise you will destroy the car. My apologies for jumping around a bit wildly, trying to find all the options for the commentary is not my greatest, but goes into 6th place. Moves up 1 position ahead of Cardude. Presumably just judging by clean over dirty. Sass still having a great time, a 3-minute lap time from her. But Scarlett still continues to hold the top spot. Celeste is in 2nd and Senna in 3rd. P4 taken by Skoda. 5th goes to FVEC as it stands. It is a 1:21.349 and a 1:21.908 at the top of the table. Apologies for the loading screen. Every time we have to jump over to a different car, it does bring one up. Bring up the dashboard, leading for a lap around the circuit with, that's the wrong button, my apologies everybody, with following along Salasa. Able to see all the steering inputs as well as the G-force, just a little over 1G to the right, heading into 1.2 as you near the exit of the corner throughout that first bend. Not counted as a corner on its own though, but it's very heavy braking into turns 1. Got to get the car slammed on the anchors, and then it's another very awkward section. Very slow, you won't have any downforce through there, you're relying entirely on your mechanical grip and all of your line. 2 minutes remaining in qualifying. Drivers are going to be approaching their final laps very shortly. Celeste has only got this one and next lap most likely to do anything. Of course, the lobby will not end immediately. There is a 5-minute grace period for collecting the results before we get underway for the main event, which is scheduled to be around a 20-minute race on this track. Ending down the longest actual straight on the circuit, 136 miles an hour for having to jump on the brakes A little bit wide in the entry, gets it tucked away nicely though. Small bit of oversteer coming through the exit of turn 9, heading to turn 10. It's a very long left-hander into a hairpin right. Again, another very awkward circuit on, or very another awkward corner, sorry, on the circuit. Stays in second though for that lap. It's going to be their final attempt. Only 1 minute remaining. This is the final lap that they will get. Scarlett still holds a 121.349 provisional pole for now. Salasa a 122.213. Cardude's moving to third place, and Skoda is settling for fourth. Senna's down in fifth, and Rosenquist sixth. Excuse me. We'll head over to watch along with Scarlett, who's going to be getting another lap. Only 30 seconds remaining in the session. Very heavy on the throttle, a little bit of oversteer, possibly even a bit of a twitch. Very wide though, coming around the final corner. And indeed gets into the wall just a little bit. That might dirty her next lap if she wasn't careful. With 17 seconds remaining in the session, this is going to be her final go. But she has aborted by the looks of things. That is going to be qualifying over for Scarlett, and judging by that, nobody else is going to be continuing on if I had to take a guess. Senna coming down to turn 1, getting on the brakes, and going in for the corner. Meaning a couple more cars are going on the way. So Scarlett did indeed dirty that final attempt that she had. Judging by the ticker lap time, it doesn't look to be the best lap overall. So we will turn that off for now. And the dashboard broken on some of these cars. Apologies, nothing we can do about it for the speed rating, but you still see the G-force and the steering inputs. Also going around these corners, you can just see how hard the tires are having to work, locking up a little bit for Senna coming around the final corner. Originally a 5th place on the grid as it stands coming across the line. That doesn't seem to have improved any, stays in 5th place. And that is going to be qualifying over. So, final few cars still yet to finish up their laps. Skoda is seems to be continuing on. That's going to be a little bit of a problem if he doesn't stop very shortly. Judging our lap time so far though, Scarlett 42 is on provisional pole position, a 121.349. Salasa will be taking second place on the grid, a 121.908. Cardude, third place, 122.492. And fourth place will be going to Skoda if he does not complete this lap. 122.755 for him. Fifth place going to be going to Senna at 122.792. Very close there for fourth and fifth. And then about a second behind, Rosenquist at 123.784. Pixels at 124.265. And Saskimal 135.003. That is going to be qualifying over for the Long Beach round. All the cars are going to be backing out as we get underway for the formation lap. Pole position honors are going to be taken by Scarlett 42 after a very, very good qualifying effort. She will take the pole position honors, and in second place it will go to Salasa. Moving on down the grid just a little bit further, LS Cardude will take third place ahead of Skoda in fourth. Fifth place going down for McLaren Senna 18, and just behind him is going to be VNT Rosenquist. Seventh place will be FB Pixels, a very long time driver on both the F1 and the Forza side, and eighth place is going to be going to Saskimal, who's already seemed to be going some issues on her own around the roundabout section. We'll take a quick look, see if there's any damage on that car. It all seems to be fine according to our data we have here. She's going to be one to catch up to the back of this pack very quickly, though. It is a rolling start, and she will get left behind if she does not catch up. Moving on back up to the front, Scarlet 42 will also be jumping on board with Salasa for the start, just to see whether or not they can get a better run. Of course, as the pole sitter, it is down to Scarlet to decide which side of the track she wishes to be on for the start. As we come around the final corner, we get prepared to double up. Scarlet seems to have elected to take the left-hand side of the circuit. Salasa will be going right-hand side. Odds on the left, evens on the right. We come to the conclusion of the formation lap. There's a long run down to the start-finish line, but it is green, green, green for the first round of FVEC Best of Forza Motorsport 7. Salasa getting in much better launch to Scarlet 42. Cardo seems to get stay a little bit left to drive for Skoda. In the background, Sen is already making good position, but so is Rosenquist and Pixel. Sasson seem to be able to patch up to the back of the pack. A little bit of a corner cut there from Salasa, but already a bit of contact, nearly forcing Scarlet into the wall. That's very late in the brakes for the Viper of Scarlet. Carter looking for anywhere on the outside, gets into the wall a little bit there. Might be damage on that car if you're not careful. That very hard hit on the wall could lead to disastrous consequences. Scarlet getting a much better launch. A little bit of a sin twist there for Salasa. However, up next, the left-hand corner of turn 6. Don't cut it in too early. If you hit that wall, Rosenquist is sliding in the background, probably getting a bit of a bump from Skoda in the background. We'll jump on back just a little bit, see if we can find out what's happening down in the midfield. Very vicious on the brakes there. Down the inside, you're never going to make that work. Into the barriers goes Senna. And things are mellowing out just a little bit up at the front. Down at the back, after not a great formation lap, is going to be Saskia Moll. However, nothing is going to be able to let her catch back up. She's going to have to be able to try and do it on her own. Of course, cautions could come into effect. They are available throughout the entirety of the race. We've seen just a background there for Senna getting loose with somebody. And both cars already taking it into pit lane. Might be a little bit of damage for some of the cars there. But speaking back to caution rules, 2 or more cars damaged at any point on the track will lead to a caution at any point outside of the final 2 laps. Of course, once we start the final 2 laps of the race, we're going to be going green to the end just to make sure we get a race for the win. Battle already brewing for 4th place. Lots of contact between Rosenquist and Skoda. Of course, 4th place is worth 18 points overall. It will be very valuable to your standings throughout the season. You want to get as many positions as you can. A little bit of a wall tap there from one of the cars ahead. Skoda's going to be having a look to the left-hand side around this corner. You're not going to make it to the outside of this circuit. You're not going to go around the outside of this corner as the camera glitches inside the car of Rosenquist ahead. Top 3 seems to be spacing out just a little bit, but we'll follow along with this. It's also a very long pit lane you've got to beware, as Saskia Moll has moved up into a temporary 2nd place. There goes Skoda down the inside. Maybe a bit of contact there between Rosenquist and himself. As Rosenquist electing to head into pit lane early on in the race. 16 laps is going to be the entire distance around the Longview circuit. We're going to have a quick jump up to closer to the front, moving on board with Salasa currently set in 2nd place. Getting close to Scarlet, but the threat of Cardude is ever lurking. All of these drivers are going to be gunning for the championship. However, the only one of them that is a team effort is going to be Scarlet with Rosenquist behind. The other 2 of Salasa and Cardude are privateer entries. They're going to be running for their own interests in the privateer championship. Possibly a little bit of wall contact there from Scarlet. Might be slowing her down just ever so slight little bit. Both drivers liking to run as far to that wall as they can. Don't want to cut this corner, otherwise you will be looking at getting investigated. Bit of wall contact from Salasa on the exit. If you're watching along live and you want me to jump on board with any of the drivers, please do let me know and I'll try my best to have a look at whoever it is that you're requesting, as for some reason the game has minimized for me. Give me one moment. There we go, it is back. Apologies about that minor technical mishap, anything happened. Wall contact on the inside of the final corner for Salasa. Going to be compromising their run all the way down to the first corner, and indeed, how the distance get to Scarlet is pulling already. They've got to be careful, there's a car in the pits, and they might be looking to overtake it. That's going to be the car of SAS. We might already be seeing blue flags taking action. That car will need to get out of the way very quickly. Already a lap down, only 5 laps into the race. Locking up in a bit of contact between Scarlet and SAS. Sasuke nearly going over the top, and Scarlet's wide. Might be damage there for the car. Salasa will take the lead. SAS is still going to be there, blocking Cardew just a little bit into the turn, and contact. Once again, we've seen the blue flagged car. Cardew pushing into the wall ever so slightly. All cars are past though. We'll jump back to the car of Scarlet, see if there's any damage on that, and doesn't look to be. It is escaped. Cardew very slidey in the background. Jump over to his car, and there is damage on that Viper. That's going to be detrimental for his podium efforts. Front left corner is gone, his steering is broken, and the drive line as well, so he's going to be losing power, and there's a car in the background in the barrier. Possibly for SAS. Of course, there is one mandatory pit stop for every single car. However, if you have damage, you have to go in, otherwise you're just going to be losing time, and it is an extremely long pit lane here as we see the car of Cardew head into pit lane. Jumping back over to the battlefield lead with Salasa and Scarlet now. We'll jump over to the gameplay camera. Scarlet's going to be having a look around the right hand side into turn 1. They're going to be going too wide, a little bit on the exit lines of pit lane. Salasa going to be defending inside, looking for the switchback, bit of contact. Both cars making it out alive. Very similar braking points for both the cars coming around that corner. Scarlet, the rear of that car is looking a little bit unhappy coming around any of these corners. Of course, I did get word a little bit earlier from Scarlet saying that this car apparently feels like a touring car with the downforce, and apparently the cars are tire limited on the front. Scarlet having a little look down the inside heading into turn 9. Not going to happen from that far back. Skoda has inherited third place. Cardew and Senna might be having a battle for 4th and 5th. Those cars are very close together. And 6th and 7th is going to be Rosewiss and Pixels. Jumping down into pit lane though went Scarlet. A very interesting call at this stage of the race, about halfway through. Of course, with the capability of cautions, anything could happen. However, that does require 2 cars to be damaged in the same incident, and it is entirely down to the race director's discretion whether or not we get one. We'll follow along with Salasa for this lap. We take a look now, however, to 8th place, getting unlapped from 3rd. That's, however, going to last long. If I had to take a guess, Salasa will be able to catch up to the back of SAS relatively quickly. However, just depends. Scarlet will hope to be able to eke out a few more laps, get a bit more of a gap before heading into pit lane, just to avoid SAS potentially getting back in front of her. Final corner, diving for pit lane goes Scarlet 42. We'll jump over and have a look at Salasa. The battle for the lead between these two is going to be very, very intense if it continues this way. We'll have to wonder though, will it come to it? But Sasuke's on the inside of that corner. That's a very, very poor place. Thankfully that car isn't going to be moving. However, that has definitely thrown SAS off just a little bit. Going to be close coming out of the pit lane. Scarlet's car is already moving again. The pit lane is long, but it is not infinite. Salasa's needing to be getting around that final corner now if they want to be able to get anywhere close back into this lead fight. 2nd place also electing to go into pit lane this lap. Skoda might be having a battle for 2nd here. Scarlet, it all depends whenever she's going to be coming out of the pit lane. That car will be getting up to speed any moment now. Here comes Celeste rounding that very curved right-hander, and Scarlett is out of the pit lane, coming up out to speed. She will have to warm up those tyres though. Indeed, locking up, having to take the full pit exit due to traffic, and the fight for the lead is back on. Tyre wear isn't going to be an object for either of these two. The tyre wear doesn't affect anything in the team until about 70%, and it is not going to get there at this stage. Lurking in the background though, there is Cardude regaining third place after an unfortunate accident. However, that battle for the lead looking ever so dull for him. There's another slow dot once again up on the straight near turn 9 at the top of the circuit. This battle for the lead is now approaching. Heading through turn 8 first for this straight. Going to be a bit of a slipstream for Celeste. However, I think Scarlett's car is faster in a straight line. Jump back over to the game cameras. We'll minimize the map just for a second to follow along with these two. These two are about equal. Jump over to the time interval between them. Best lap so far is a 1:21.597 for Celeste, and only 0.6 of a second separate these two heading down to turn 1. As we see there, Scarlett's car is much quicker in a straight line. That gap's about 8.5, nearly 9/10 into the corner. However, Celeste's car is going to be a lot better at handling and better on the brakes, definitely, because of the higher level of downforce. However, downforce is questionable if it's what you need around here. All the corners are quite low speed apart from some, and there is a lot of straight lines. The top end could be entirely what you need here. A little bit risky in the inside curve. Scarlett gets to the wall on the exit of turn 5. Getting into turn 6, neither driver wanting to risk it too much. That could be the race ender for them. Very slidey for Celeste coming out of turn 8. There seems to be another battle brewing just a little bit down on the field. 4th and 5th between Skoda and Senna. Well, we'll keep an eye on the gaps on this battle for the lead, but we'll jump over here because these two are very close to each other. A little bit deep there on the brakes for Skoda. That might have Senna having a look up the inside for this corner. We'll translate to the outside though for the next. But if you can hold it around the outside here, you have a very good opportunity to dive down the inside. And Senna has a look for it and hairpin. There's going to be side-by-side contact between them. Very aggressive on the throttle there for Skoda. That could just compromise him a little bit. Senna's still going to be there all the way down the inside this right-hand corner. Cars getting very close together. Was touching even. Got to be careful though with the effect as basically Forza glue. You could come together at that corner and you could both be spearing into the left hand side wall. Very deep in the race, are possibly too deep for Skoda. Somehow managed to steal by that position. Dives down the inside into turn 1. Has to keep it though throughout this next section. Senna getting into the back of him ever so slightly. And that goes in the wall. That's heavy. Going to be damaged most likely there for that car. We'll take a quick look at the ticker, and indeed it is. That front left corner is broken along with the steering and the driveline gone. We'll jump over to Senna's car, see if the same story is for there, and there is no damage on that car. That is not going to constitute a caution at this stage. Jumping back over to our current race leader of Squad 42, completing, or coming round to complete lap 10 of 16. Not long left to go in this race. Apologies if you hear any of the sounds of in the background. Things starting to look just a little bit spread out. So again, if there's anybody in the live chat, if you want me to watch along with any driver at any point, do make yourself known and I will do my best to accommodate. There is no close battles on the track except for this one as it stands. So I will be very free to be able to take up your requests. Slightest of touches on the wall there for Scarlett coming around turn 5. Very aggressive on the throttle coming through the corner for Celeste in the background. Car completely sideways It may look good for the show, however, it is not very fast. It is the opposite of what you'll be doing. The more you can grip through these corners, the better you're going to have, and the faster you're going to be. Another car off in turn 1. We'll stay along with Scarlet, see if we can just find who it is. How that car is moving again. It's hopefully not got any damage. We'll have a look through the ticker, and it's going to be Sass once again down in 8th place. That car is stopped again. That could be very bad for Scarlet. We've seen how it could be. And into the barriers. Very nearly reversing into the line there of Scarlet. That could be very detrimental. Salasa also making it through. That was almost a very terrifying accident. Into the wall there goes Scarlet. Possibly still a little bit spooked from that very, very close call. Slash also hitting into the wall just in the background there. Also trying to overdrive the car at this stage to try and get anything they can to claw back at this lead for Scarlet, but time is running out for both of them. Through, there is no real close cars on track apart from Skoda and Rosenquist. However, that is a battle for P6 as it stands. But of course, this is only one round of 8. We still have round 2 later on in the broadcast. Don't go near for that. And of course, later on in the week, rounds 3 and 4. Next week, the week leading up to release for the new Forza Motorsport, we're going to have 4, 5, wait, no. Am I wrong in saying that? We're going to have rounds 5 and 6, sorry, and 7 and 8 next week, coming on Tuesday and Thursday. 4 rounds a week is a lot. Races on Tuesdays and Thursdays for this series, but we can cram it in just before the release of the new Motorsports. Once again, that's very wide from Slash in the background, possibly getting into the wall and slowing down even more. Take a jump over with Slash to see what they're doing around the track. Long Beach is definitely tight and challenging. The walls are everywhere. There is no room for error at all. If you get something wrong, you're likely to get a lot of damage. However, minor scrapes you can get away with, but they are not going to be very fast. And since you've got no traditional runoff on the outside of the circuit, and the inside is completely walled off, you've got to keep it perfect throughout the entire way for lap after lap. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself broken damage. And that turn 1 is very risky there from Slash, getting quite sideways. You don't want to go in too early for turn 1 either, lest you do the same thing that you could at turn 6. Clip the inside and break the car, possibly spinning yourself around and possibly collecting people. Cardude once again lurking in the background, hoping that anything could happen. However, we are approaching the very end of the quarter period, but Slasa spinning round, coming around turn 5. That could be the moment that Cardude needs. The battle for the lead may be over, very much so at the certain, but the battle for second place could just be reignited with that move Satya will once again on the inside of turn 8. That car is going to be staying well out of the way, hopefully, and not impeding with this battle. Indeed, it is staying slow and to the other side of the circuit. Scarlet coming around the final corner. Cautions end at the end of lap 14. The final 2 laps, 15 and 16, are going to be caution free. It is green, green, green to the end. All Cardude now can do is hope that his raw pace is going to be better than Celeste's, and hope that they make a mistake up ahead. Cardude seeming a lot more calm and collected, going around the circuit. The raw pace might not be just as high, however, that less aggressive, less mistake style of driving could just be his ticket in order to catch up. He's much smoother throughout these corners, barely avoids touching the wall coming through turn 5. Little bit of one-side contact there through turn 6, gets away with it though, doesn't get the car completely tugged around, and the gap to Salasa is getting very, very small. Taking aboard in the slipstream. Cardew's car is faster in a straight line. A little bit of a gain for the start of the straight, however, there's only going to be one lap left for this duo. Both cars with the left side tail light out, indicating just how spin happy these cars can be. That's not a great exit off the corner for Salasa. However, does pull away just a little bit from Cardew. However, this top speed is coming back. The gap is falling once again. Don't get distracted by the headlights coming to turn 1. Let's see what you're braking going. That's a very far to the right side for Salasa. Might be a little bit too late in the brakes. Somehow gets the car stopped in time. However, the gap is even smaller coming around through the roundabout turns 2 and 3. Cardew too aggressive on the throttle, has to get off it, but gets it calm collected back. These two are going to be right nose to tail through this corner. Cardew nearly making the same mistakes Salasa did not that long ago. This gap is very small, less than 50 feet. Cardew might be looking down the inside of turn 6, thinks better of it, stays in the slipstream just a little bit. There's only going to be one long straight left for this duo. Not many overtaking spots left. Not a great exit there for Cardew. Goes into the wall. Salasa gets a much better one. However, Salasa hesitates in the turn in just a little bit. That could be the moment Cardew needs. It's not a great exit for them. This slipstream kicks in at this point in the straight. We could see a very far away dive bomb into turn 9. We don't think better of it. Might just have to settle for 3rd place. Doesn't want to risk it this late in the race. Coming in the final corner. Scarlett's going to be the winner of the race. 16 laps, basically dominance out in front. These two, however, are going to be going right to the lines. Salasa doesn't get a very good exit, but Cardew's got even worse off of the corner. Saskia Mall through the pit lane once more, going to be out of the way of these two, but it looks like Salasa's going to be able to take 2nd place, and indeed they do. Cardew having to settle for 3rd, very close there at the end. However, very, very well deserved. 4th place we'll jump over is going to be for Senna. 5th is going to go to the likes of Pixels for the looks of things. However, Skoda is there lurking in the background. Don't want to make another mistake at this stage. These are getting very close to each other for the end of this race. Skoda's going to have a look for the outside. Pixels defending the inside. Coming for the switchback though. It all depends who gets the better exit. Skoda is the better exit of the hairpin. Going to get it out of line. Moving on to 5th place. That is a very late move for P5. However, it is one that is very well done. Skoda will take 5th. Pixels having to settle for 6th at the final corner. 7th will go to Rosenquist heading over the line, and 8th place will undoubtedly be heading to SAS. We see that car heading backwards over the line into the wall. Thankfully, all the other cars are going to be taken over by the AI at this stage. We'll jump over to the final car, still running. Not sure how many laps down. 4 in a 20-minute race. And goes straight on at turn 6.